Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Please do subscribe it if you haven't done so already. It really helps. So today I'm going to talk to you about Home Assistant, and this is the continuation of the last video. So today we're going to talk about what do you need to run it, and what can you do basically with it. So I'm going to show you my use cases of the main things that I use Home Assistant for. So let's start with the hardware. So you can use any old computer that you might have lying around. So I ran Home Assistant for on an old laptop for at least 2 years before I upgraded to my current setup. So we will cover that going forward. So you can use an old computer. You can use dedicated hardware from Home Assistant makers. So it's called Home Assistant Green or Yellow. It's based on Raspberry Pi, and the good thing about that is there's a lot of support because they're the ones who made it. So it just works. So it's very easy to set up. Then you can use Raspberry Pi, of course. You can use any 32 or 64-bit machine. So the way that would work is you would need some kind of a hypervisor or a software that you can run a virtual machine on. So you can use Linux to run the hypervisor, you can use Windows, that's where I started. You can use Mac OS, you can run it on a network attached storage operating system. In my case, that's what I'm using right now. So I'm running Home Assistant inside a virtual machine that runs on a Synology network attached storage, NAS, and that's how I run Home Assistant. So the only requirement or the only consideration that you should make or think about before starting is that you should use a computer that you know can run 24/7. So you would not need to take it along with you. For example, don't run it on the laptop that you take with you to work. So use it on a computer that you know stays at your home and can run 24/7. So let me show you some of the things that I use Home Assistant for. For example, so let's go to a piece of software or an add-on inside Home Assistant called Node-RED. So you'll be able to see it on my screen. It's loading up right now. So as you can see, every day based on the time of the day, it can see what the sun elevation is at that time and what's the ambient light level, and based on that it can turn the living room lights on and off. How does it know this the sun elevation at any given time during the day? So I've given the Home Assistant my latitude and longitude, and based on that it can go reach out to a server on the internet, and that server replies to Home Assistant with a number. So let me show you if I have that right here. So you can see it tells Home Assistant that the sunrise and sunset at my particular location is this, and right now the elevation of the sun is 24.46. This is the number. It doesn't mean anything by itself, but you can define conditions that let's say if the elevation is less than this or more than this, do certain things. So I have defined the turning on and off of lights not based on a particular time but on the position of the sun. So basically I know I don't want to waste electricity, so the lights only turn on when it's dark outside, and that's the backup condition. The primary condition is the luminous level inside luminous level that's being provided by a Zigbee sensor. Let's see if you can find that Zigbee sensor. Where is that? Come on, where are you? Right here, you see living room ambient light sensor. So that's the Zigbee light sensor. So as you can see, this is what I was mentioning in the last video. I have told Home Assistant to keep a trend for the last 10 days. You can ask it to store more if you want, if you have that much storage. So you can ask it to store trends over a predefined set of time. So for example, I can ask you show me the trends for this week, and you'll see the levels going up and down. So let's see. While this loads, let's talk about the next thing I use Home Assistant for, and that's to play the call to prayer or the azan for my Muslim followers. So Muslims have a call to prayer that's usually heard 5 times a day. So because I live in Canada and that doesn't happen outside, so I am using Home Assistant to play that call to prayer using my smart speaker. It's a Google Home Mini. So I am accomplishing that using automation. So here we go. You can see these are the names of the prayers, by the way. So Fajr, Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. So once again, how do I know at what time to play the call to player? So I'm using an integration. It's called the prayer times, and that basically gives me the time when I need to call the automation. So you see, based on my location, the latitude and longitude, a server on the internet gives me times, and based on those times, I have defined automations right here. For example, it says time equal to that entity, and it pauses the media player if there's anything running on my television or the home theater computer, and then it plays Fajr on the living room speaker. So yeah. Next thing, I have Zigbee water leakage sensors, and I send, based on if the sensor sees any kind of leakage, it sends a notification to my phone on Telegram, and it also plays the message on the smart speakers. So let me show you how that works. That's also being defined in Node-RED. Let's wait for it to load. All right. So I have a bunch of sensors for fridge and freezer doors. We'll come back to that later. So these for kitchen leak, guest bath, master bath under sink, and the washer dryer. So all of these leakage sensors are have a similar kind of logic. I know it looks like a mess of wires, but it's easier than it looks. So if you guys are interested to see how this works, I could make a separate video on this. So basically the way it works, it's on a loop until and unless I don't resolve the condition that's causing the leak. It will send me a ping every 5 seconds because here we don't have wet spaces inside the bathrooms. There are no drains, so if there's a leakage, you'll end up ruining your floor. So this is kind of an urgent thing. So it keeps sending me the notification every 5 seconds. There's a leakage, there's a leakage, there's a leakage. I know it can be annoying, but that's what I wanted. So you can set it up a different way, but that's how I use it. Now let's get back to the fridge and freezer door sensors. These have a different kind of timer, same logic, but instead of every 5 seconds, it tells me every 2 minutes. So we did forget the fridge open one day a few months back, and it ended up ruining everything we had stored in the fridge. So this just sends a message to my and my wife's phone, just like the other automations for the sensors, these as well. So it sends a notification to the group that I have made on Telegram that me and my wife are a part of. So it just sends a message there, and it also plays the same message. I can have it play the same message on basically the speakers. So this is the speaker part, the Google text to speech. All right. So another automation that I have defined, that if any of the sensors in my home that have a battery attribute, if it drops below a certain number, in this case I believe I set it at 5%, it sends me a message. Home Assistant is also able to send you a message on your phone even without Telegram. So you have to use the cell phone app or the Android app or the iPhone app in that case. But yes, you have the possibility of sending yourself notifications. All right, let's go back to the dashboard, and here you can see I have a graph that's showing the temperature of the 2 hard drives that I have inside my network attached storage. So these are the 2 hard drives, and based on these sensors, I have defined an automation. So let's go back to the automation, and you see if the temperature is above 42 degrees Celsius, it will send me a message via Telegram. So yeah, it's just keeping an eye on things for me. The reason for that is I stored the NAS device itself inside a cabinet. So if there's too much heat inside the cabinet, or if it's a particularly warm day, so it could cause the temperature inside the cabinet to rise up. So I know there's not a lot I can do. I will just end up opening the door to the cabinet, but yeah, it's something I can do. Next thing, I use Home Assistant to run an add-on called the Ad Guard Home. So this allows me to filter ad traffic or the ads on all the devices that are connected to my home internet network, so Wi-Fi network. If you are interested in any of the things that I'm showing you today, please do leave a comment and I will be more than happy to make a video on that topic. All right, and the last thing, this one is my favorite. So I used Home Assistant to turn my dumb humidifier into kind of a smart humidifier. So my humidifier has no smart features in any way. It just came with a small infrared remote that I point at the humidifier, and it enables me to turn it on and off and a bunch of other things, but it's not connected to Bluetooth and it's not connected to Wi-Fi. I wanted to be able to control it via Google Home. So what I ended up doing is I'm using a Zigbee switch, or it could be any kind of smart switch, and that provides it power. and that smart switch has a power monitoring function. So let me show you right here. So it allows me to monitor power, and that's how I'm able to see if the humidifier is running or not. So let's go back to earlier this week. We can see the trend. Based on this power consumption, I have defined logic inside Home Assistant that tells me if the humidifier is running or not. So you see, based on this, I can see if the power consumption is more than a certain number, that it's basically working. And so that tells me if the humidifier is on and off. How do I send it commands? So that's another beauty of Home Assistant. I'm using a completely different service, and this is called Tuya. In Tuya, I have a scene defined. Where is that? Humidifier. Right here. So this scene is defined inside the Tuya app, and basically what it does is it allows me to send an infrared blast and infrared command using a Tuya infrared IR blaster, and I basically copied the small remote control that came with the humidifier. I copied that on and off command on Tuya. It allows me to do that. It allows me to learn commands, and I just defined a scene inside the app that whenever I tell you to turn the scene on, you send that command to everything. You blast it inside my room basically. So it sends out infrared blasts, and it's actually powerful enough that it works even when the room is completely lit by sunlight. I have direct sunlight in my room, so yeah, it's very, very powerful. Once again, if you want to see the details on how to do this on your Home Assistant operating system, how I did this, please do drop a comment, and I'll be more than happy to make a video on how to do that. This is all I had for you today. See you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.